In fact, in the Wisdom Sutras, which is the highest teachings, which is called Teaching of Prajna Paramita, where he taught at the Vajrapik mountain, together with great gathering of monks and bodhisattvas. But Japanese call it Hanya Haramita. In Zen, the Heart Sutra is the most important one. They do it every occasion when somebody's died, when there's, every occasion the Heart Sutra is done before meditation. Anyway, so there's a whole cycle of teaching he gave, the vaster teachings on that called the. In that teaching, it is said, Semla Semmachute Semjirangin Sawao. That, by the way, is in Tibetan, if you didn't understand it. So the thing is that then in that teaching, Buddha said, Semla Semmachite Semjirangin Sawao, which when you translate English, it's called mind is devoid of mind. For the nature of mind is clear light. It's an incredible, profound statement. In 1989, soon after the Nobel Peace Prize, His Holiness won, we had not known that he was going to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. We had the kind of auspiciously, the first big public teaching that His Holiness was going to conduct was the one that Rigpa had organized in San Jose. That was incredible. There were about 5,000 people. I'd also invite Choshin Kennebuchi. He gave a teaching in the evening, and that was incredible. Many people connect with him. Anyway, so in that teaching, he spoke about this. He, with great respect for Jaman Khyentse, since he is really was considered in Tibet as the master of all the masters. He was great authority. He was quoting my master, saying that my master Jaman Khyentse used to teach, Dalai said, that he used to say that in this just 2 lines, the entire teaching of Buddha gave 3 major teachings, 3 great turning of wheel of Dharma, which became the basis of the 3 yanas. The first at Saranath, which is near Varanasi of Benares. He taught on the Four Noble Truths. That when he said mind, the first word, mind is devoid of mind. Mind refers to that cycle of teaching. It's called the vehicle of characteristics. And then next is mind is devoid of mind, is what Buddha taught on the Vajrapik mountain, together with great gathering of monks and bodhisattvas. He gave the wisdom teachings, which are the basis of Mahayana. And the third one, for the nature of mind is clear light, refers to the third cycle of teaching Buddha, where he taught the Vajrayana teachings. He taught on the Buddha nature and on the teaching of clear light, which is very much part of Dzogchen. So basically the teaching says, mind is devoid of mind, because when we talk what mind is, when you really examine, it's devoid of mind, it's empty. It's inherently empty, the great teaching of the emptiness. Then if the mind is empty, then what is the nature of mind? Nature of mind is clear light. That's the Dzogchen teachings. And Buddha nature. So anyway, so when you talk about Buddha nature, actually some ways the highest teachings is that the fundamental, you can say, the basis of the very highest teachings of the Buddha is that all beings have Buddha nature. Buddha said, all beings are Buddhas, yet it is obscured by adventitious stains. Once these stains removed, they are Buddha indeed. That he said in the He Vajratantra teachings. Sentient beings are Buddhas, but yet they've been obscured by adventitious stains. Once these stains are removed, they are Buddha indeed. So, what is that adventitious stains? Adventitious stains are like the example of the clouds. Sky, really a good example for this is that real our nature mind is like the sky. Like when you take a plane and go beyond the clouds, you discover there's an infinite sky or a space that's never stained by clouds. Remember I told you I had an opportunity to go on Concorde. Amazing thing is when you fly, you cut the sound barrier, and then also amazing thing is when you go high, there's an incredible space never stained by clouds. It's an incredible experience. So that always I use an example of that, in the deep nature of mind, we go transcend into the ultimate nature, sky-like nature of mind. That's where like the Buddha nature, But then unfortunately this Buddha nature, ultimate nature is obscured by, on the ordinary level, by the clouds of obscuration. These are called adventure stains. Now the good story is adventure stains. What is adventure stain? Tibetan double. Adventure stain means the stain, the cloud is actually, cloud is not, if these obscurations were really absolute, they're ultimate, they're real, they're unchanging, then there's no hope. But the good thing about, first of all, the cloud is not in the nature of sky. You understand? Cloud is not really nature of sky. It appears in the sky, but it's not in the real nature of the sky. I remember Kenshin Rinpoche used to say, clouds depend on sky non-dependently. So that really, the cloud is not in the nature of sky. So therefore, our ordinary delusional mind is not part of our ultimate nature. It is only on the surface. And also wonderful news is that it is not permanent. And it can be changed. It can be purified. Just as the Tibetan saying goes, when you have negative karma or Christian sense, sin has no good quality, but one good quality is purifiable because it's really impermanent. If it's permanent, it is completely unpurifiable. You understand? So it's purifiable. This ordinary, that's why Buddha said all sentients are Buddhas, but yet they be obscured by advanced stains. Once this obscuration is removed, they are Buddha indeed. So the main point of the teaching is that we have as our ultimate nature the Buddha. That's why we can attain enlightenment. If we didn't have the potential of enlightenment, there would be no hope of enlightenment. In fact, when Buddha first attained enlightenment, he realized that all beings have the potential of enlightenment. They have the same nature as him. But however, because of ignorance, negative emotions, destructive emotions, and negative actions, they are in the clouds of samsara, and it's obscured this. So he really came to really purify, show us the way, in a gradual way, how to overcome, purify that. You understand? Also remember I mentioned yesterday that first human Dzogchen Master Garabdoji said that mind is and has always been Buddha, or mind's true nature is and has always been Buddha. Because really, as Ugyen Tobjeran, which has been realized, ultimately Buddha is one's mind. So that's the amazing thing is in the 3-year retreat, when we had actually it was 4 years, we had 400 students. That was historical, to do a retreat like that with 400 students, a 3-year retreat. It was not traditional retreat. And the most amazing thing is I taught every year for 7 months, almost every day. And we work with also the mind of people, and also a lot of people need psychological work. So we people had low self-esteem, others, we had very good therapists who worked with them, emotional work. And we found what is more amazing is people with low self-esteem, who do not have a really true recognition of themselves. The Buddha nature was something that really helped. Because when you discover the Buddha nature, then you realize who you really are. If ego is not your true self, then who are we? In fact, we are a Buddha to be. Is that clear? That's an astounding message, which shows that we are all primordially pure. That's why in Christianity we are what? Original sin. Buddhism is not original sin. It's original purity. And because we have the Buddha nature, the whole point of the teaching is for us to realize our own enlightenment. This suits very much this time where people want to do their own way. They want to be their own Buddha. Okay, fine. You are not necessarily photocopy Buddha Kyakyam when you're going to be like that, You are your own Buddha, each with unique potential, unique character. And so that's why the Buddha nature is extraordinarily important also. That's why you see when we, through meditation, when you overcome an ordinary mind and delusion, then when you transcend more the state of ultimate nature, when you realize beyond the appearance of things, realize the essence and nature of mind, by turning the mind inwardly, then when you come to have a glimpse of your Buddha nature, the enlightened mind, which is extraordinary, which gives the really deep understanding. In fact, as you know, the greatest strength of Buddhism, particularly Tibetan Buddhism, is what? Is the teachings, of course, but actually is the masters. You got it? The masters. Like, for example, Jaman Khyentse, Chuchulori, Tingu Khyentse Rinpoche. The fact that Tingu Khyentse Rinpoche could come to India, was able to come, that in this one person is the whole Tibetan Buddhism embodied. It may be the text important, teaching is important, monasteries may be important, but the real practice is important, but the real thing is the masters. The masters like Jaman Khyentse, Chuchulori, Tingu Khyentse Rinpoche, who is the spiritual heir of my master Jaman Chuchulori, they have the same name, and Dujul, all that is they have realized the Buddha mind. And what they demonstrate themselves, that's why one of the greatest, teaching or the highest teaching, the master like Tingu Khyentse Rinpoche, Jaman Chuchulori, Tingu Khyentse, Dujul Rinpoche, transmit, for example, to me, I am most grateful to them is because they've introduced me to the true nature of my mind, my Buddha mind. In fact, they've given me the recognition of my true nature and make me discover my true nature. In that, there's an extraordinary freedom. You understand? So much so that your master become the embodiment of your enlightened mind. Whenever I see my master's photographs, it reminds me, reflects the true nature of my mind. They become like embodiment of that. And when you realize the enlightened mind, which is beyond the ordinary mind, then you transcend, and then that's when you become enlightened. So that's where, the nature of mind is the most important thing. And that is embodied. Or rather, if I put it another way, the greatest strength of the Tibetan Buddhist teachings is that, you see, Buddhism is not about just the scriptures. Like Christianity, of course, you have most important the Bible. The book for the Islam is the Quran, and for the Hindus like Bhagavad Gita, all the texts, But the thing is, what in a sense has been lost in the Christianity is lineage of great masters. In ancient times, there was actually the masters, who realized the true nature. Like, for example, put it this way, when Buddha was alive, he not only gave the teachings, he matured the mind of the students, his main students, so that they realize the Buddha's mind. He transmits the realization of his wisdom mind directly to them. So that in a sense, when Buddha passed away, it's like the saying, the king is dead, long live the king. Even though the Buddha passed away, his enlightened mind continues. Like, for example, when my master Jamang Khyentse passed away, it was incredible. Tingul Khyentse became like my master. I remember one of the old disciples, my master Jamang Khyentse, who was really close to Tingul Khyentse. They were my father and Tingul Khyentse Rinpoche and this Choden, this master of ceremony, incredible Lama, like an ascetic, incredible one. They were the closest to Jamang Khyentse. They always hung out together. And that's why Choden used to consider Tingul Khyentse Rinpoche as not as a, he knew he was a great master, but did not really have reverence like he had for Jamang Khyentse. They used to always joke with each other, and there was really like spiritual friends. But then it's when Jamang Khyentse died, and that he gave a very great teaching. And on that occasion, I remember seeing Choden crying. I didn't see him cry before. Tingul Khyentse Rinpoche also spoke about my master, and he also wept. And then suddenly, Tingul Khyentse Rinpoche became like this great Jamang Khyentse. And then Choden, I heard him say, I think he was saying to Khandro, he said, I've heard that when the great master passes away, he transmits his wisdom mind to his heart son. I've heard that, but till today I've not seen it. He saw with his own eyes how Jamang Khyentse has become Tingul Khyentse Rinpoche. So that even though your master passes away, he transmits his essence, his enlightenment to the heart son. So thus the lineage is authentic, powerful. Because you see, that's why sometimes the problem with, like, for example, other religions is that, it's like a lot of interpretation of scriptures is actually lost to, maybe scholars or thing, but there's no one, an authority. In Tibet, we had like Jamang Khyentse, who was an authority on how things really are, because he has the Buddha mind, realize that. So he could say, this is how it is, really how it is. Then it was really, you understand? It's not just an intellectual knowledge, a direct experience. And that realization of Buddha mind, that's the blessing. The blessing I have from my masters is that understanding of nature mind. So that's a blessing. It's incredible. It's the blessing. Without a blessing, there is no progress in spiritual path. No progress. In the West, people are a little egoistic, They learn something, and then they, sometimes you become better than your teacher, and you want to, kick your teacher away, and you become that's not really very good, actually, The people have only that kind of egoistic approach to spirituality. In fact, I remember Tingul Khyentse Rinpoche meeting with another master in Nepal around the 80s, And he actually asked me to come over. And I thought he was going to give a great teaching, so wanted to. So he sent me his car. I went there to see him. I was staying at Rinpoche's a home down in the main town of Kathmandu. And Khyentse Rinpoche was staying in the Bauda stupa area in the monastery. So he sent the car to, and when I went there, they were having a picnic. He's eating Tibetan momos, and there were many lamas. He was telling stories of great masters. And they were both saying to each other, they just read the autobiography of the younger tutor of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, called Trijang Rinpoche, who was very learned. He said, he wrote in the autobiography, he said, I know the Dharma, because he was a great scholar. And I know the Dharma, and I know all the quality of a teacher, perfect teacher. Then he said, not only do I not have the quality of a perfect teacher, I don't even have a quality of a true student. When the Rinpoche said that to Tingul Khyentse Rinpoche, they both just, almost like clapped. They said, bravo, bravo. That's what it is. That's a great master who said, not only do I not have the quality of great master, I do not have a quality of true student. Because to be a true master, you be a true student. You have that humility, that devotion. Because if you have devotion, the blessing is yours. And so, very much it's through the blessings. When you inherit the blessing, all the great masters become great masters. Like Trungpa Rinpoche, he became the teacher of the Dalai Lama after Tengku Khyentse. He became the teacher. In fact, he became, in the last 10 years or so, he became the closest spiritual friend of his own Dalai Lama, really. They were like this, very close spiritually. I think His Holiness missed him very much. And Trungpa Rinpoche was the heart son of Tengku Khyentse and Dorje Rinpoche both. And he has the blessing of that. When you have the blessing, I remember in Larabling, when first the temple was built, he came to Larabling many times, gave many teachings before in the tent. But when the temple was first completed in year 2000, I think 2005, he came in December. And we had a beautiful room prepared for His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. Room that's for His Holiness and for the great masters. And I had all the holy relics and things prepared there for his residence. So he stayed with us for about, 10 days or so. And it was amazing that these images and the holy relics have tremendous blessing. But after he came, Trungpa Rinpoche sat there and we were having dinner together, I could just suddenly realize just everything, all the shrine, everything was vibrating with blessings, The whole thing was blessing, it was vibrating. It was suddenly the place had transformed into a celestial realm. Then I told Trungpa Rinpoche, because I was very close to him, I would joke with him also. I said that, it is said in the teachings, Lama is the source of all the blessings. It's so true. The moment you came, the blessings are there. You're imbued with blessings. And he was just laughing, saying, you're just exaggerating. But it's true. So the blessing is important. If there's no blessing, you will not evolve. So if you're not a true student, you cannot be a master. Is that clear? That's why Jaman Khyentse Chujlori said to a disciple of his who, I think you had this before, when he sent him a little note to him saying that, would you grant me some blessings? Jaman Khyentse replied saying that, while it's difficult for someone like me to bless you, in one way he was being very humble, but one way it's true, because of the great master Atisha Dipankara, who is the source of the Lojong teachings, master from whom these teachings came, the root master. One disciple of his, went to him and bent down with very great respect and devotion. "Oh Master, Choji Padyatisha, Choji, would you grant me some blessings?" Whereupon, this is a very famous account, real story. Whereupon it is said that Choji Padyatisha, he bent down even lower than this disciple, who was a very cozy, warm person. He said to him, "Oh, cozy one, would you grant me some devotion?" Showing that in order to receive blessing, you need to have devotion. Without devotion, you will not have blessing. If you have really opened your heart with pure perception and devotion, then blessing is yours. So that's what Jaman Khyentse was indicating. He said, even though someone like me, it's difficult for someone like me to grant you the blessings, but yet if you have the purity of perception and devotion in your heart, then blessing is surely yours. He said, why? Because aside from the pure perception in your mind, aside from the pure and impure state in your mind, there's no one who binds you or sets you free. You're your own master. So when your mind is pure, it's nirvana. When your mind is impure, it's samsara. The main thing is to keep your mind pure. It is said also at the moment of death, main hard advice given by Guru Rinpoche is at the moment of death, let go of attachment and aversion, keep your heart and mind pure, unite your mind with the wisdom mind of the masters or the Buddhas, and rest in the nature of mind, keeping your mind heart pure. As long as your mind is pure and you have devotion, purity of perception, the blessing is yours. Clear. Aside from the pure, and it's so profound when I heard that it's really so direct, so simple, so profound. Because basically it's just keeping your mind pure. Sometimes we get on a spiritual path very complicated. And Vajrayana's quite, teachings are quite elaborate. And so we can lose the simplicity in the elaboration. But we must never forget the simple thing, the purity perception. Whole Vajrayana is purity perception. Purity perception. So if your mind is pure, aside from the pure and impure state of your mind, there's no one who binds you or sets you free. If your mind is impure, it binds you. If you're impure, French say you're coincé. Yeah? If your mind is pure, you're free. Nirvana. And that I find very pure, very profound.